very much for your time and look forward to speaking with you.
Let me address some of those, if you don't mind, Frank, because I just want to, without getting into too many details, I want people to understand who I am, where I came from, and how we got to this point. And first of all, I appreciate the background you have in environmental issues. I've got some environmental background also. I mean, I went to Pace University with a certification in environmental law, and it's one of the foremost environmental programs in the country for lawyers. I was trained by EPA, former EPA attorneys, and people that really took the lead on environmental issues. When I was in law school, I worked for New York's equivalent of DEEP, which is the Department of Environmental Conservation. I worked for EPA in Philadelphia, and I worked for something while I was in law school called the Energy Project, which is something that addresses, the environmental legal issues associated with large-scale power projects. Specifically, I was dealing with renewable resources. So I'm telling you this because I don't come from this from a point of irresponsibility or ignorance or just being out for the dollars. What I learned in my experience is that there are ways to responsibly partner with industry to be responsible kind of stewards of the environment, and that's the whole point. That's what EPA and DEEP and all these other agencies are trying to do. They don't say no to a program or to a project. What they're there to say is, how can you kind of fulfill your mission or do your project responsibly? And it's this kind of situation with Brass Center is the greatest kind of black and white example of that. We're dealing with a site where people acted completely irresponsibly. They polluted this land to the point where it's been sitting vacant and derelict and destitute for 30 years as a black hole on our economy, on our environment, on our community. And these are people that acted irresponsibly. So when I look at what can we do now that we're cleaning up the site, I'm looking for partners that could use it for industrial purposes, because we need industry in town. We can't just say, we don't want to make things. We don't want industry here. I mean, the beautiful thing about New Milford is that we're big enough and we're zoned properly where we've got the opportunity to put manufacturing and industry in appropriate places. So that's where I came from. And working with Panda, yes, it's been 4 months. Why did I not come out and tell people? Because A, I don't know if I want to do business with Panda until I understand where they're coming from, and B, they don't know if they want to do business with us from a logistical point of view, but also from the point of view, or is this going to be a project that the community could support? So it takes a while for us to be comfortable enough with each other to kind of say, yes, this is something, it's going to be a good partnership. And based on that experience, when I look at these guys, I look at this company, and I look at the commitment that they do have to responsibly now, using the latest technology, fulfilling a need that we have, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure I missed the beginning of the presentation, but we're kind of decommissioning the coal-fired plants, the oil plants, the nuclear power plants. We're decommissioning these things, but yet our energy needs remain the same. So when I see that kind of situation, I see a company like Panda come to me and say, we recognize this, and we want to kind of be a partner in your community, fulfill this need, but do it in a way that is responsible to the community. We're going to address the community's concerns, and Leva, these guys will be the first ones to tell you that we want to work with you. We want to address those concerns. If you gave the sign-off for Kimberly-Clark, I hope that you could work with them and give the sign-off to them as well. Why not? For your support, rather than be antagonistic and fight it, work with us, work with them to figure out, what do you want? What do you need? What can they say to address your concerns? And that's the way I kind of approach this project. And that's the opportunity that you have. There's no haste here, but we're having these forums, and they're here to answer your questions. So that's where I've kind of approached it. And I put it to you with my arms open, with my eyes open. Support it. Please support this, because we want to manufacture. These guys came in here and they said they were manufacturing cars or Apple iPhones. There's going to be some impact anytime you do anything. These guys are manufacturing electricity, and we know that that's not going to be farmed out to China. They're not going to send it down to Texas. We need electricity here. And I appreciate the investment and the investment in technology and the siting of this plant. I mean, I said, this is a great location. You've got a polluted, poisoned brownfields. What could be more of a Cinderella story than turning that into a productive property that supports its community? So that's where I come from with this. Ask these guys the questions. They have the technical information. They're there for it. You know, you compare it to Sempro. This isn't Sempro. Right? It's a different site. It's a different technology. It's a different way of doing things. I mean, this is air-cooled versus the water-cooled that was going on there. And hopefully, it's a different attitude in terms of these guys are here for you. They want to convince you. But give them that opportunity. In other words, keep an open mind for this project. It's a game changer for New Milford. And believe me, industry is not knocking down our doors to come in and occupy this site. It's just not happening. So, you know, we've got a great product that we can produce here that we know is going to be needed here for the next 30 years. And what I would appreciate is just giving them the benefit of the doubt, having an open mind, and let them convince you. That's it. Address it.
Give us a chance.
Right.
Okay. The purchase of property. Purchase.
You want to purchase it before you do all these studies.
Option to purchase.
Option to purchase or purchase?
Yeah, it's an option to purchase. In other words, the purchase is contingent on all of getting their approvals from the state, getting obviously not just the town meeting that, you know, let's say we have the town meeting and we get authority to sign this option to purchase agreement. But that doesn't mean that this power plant happens automatically, and it doesn't mean that they're committed to a piece of property that they can't use. So there's still going to be this process. There's going to be meetings. They got to meet with EPA and get approvals. And if they don't get that, then it doesn't go forward, and the deal is dead. So there is an option there. And if you want to kill it, I mean, listen, it could be killed. I'm not saying that none of this is a done deal, as these gentlemen will tell you. You know, I know they're being nice about it, but you know, like they said, they're not going to spend $100,000 on a project that a community does not want, and I don't blame them for that. So that's why I'm here, to not ram this down your throat. Nobody's here, you know, to kind of muscle you or trying to sneak this under the radar. I promoted this. I said, we're at the point where we're ready to present this to the world. Ask your questions. I want the community to be a part of this, to be an enthusiastic partner, and so do they. But, you know, if we're not, then we're not. Then the deal dies. Then it goes away. You may declare that a victory. Frankly, I wouldn't be presenting this. I would declare it, you know, a real tragedy for New Milford in terms of what I've seen happen since Sempro, and the fact that, you know, Kimberly-Clark is using the same technology in ONG and the other industries. I really want to educate the community about what's already happening in New Milford and how this project would kind of relate to that. So, yes. Short story, I mean, I accuse my attorneys of talking too much and not answering it yes and no, but yes, it's an option, and it most certainly could be killed. Nothing is set in stone.
How long?
It's up to you
I
guys.
promised this gentleman, and then, yes, sir.
Thank you. My name's Ray Wood, and I was heavily involved on the steering committee with LEVA during the whole power order thing. And I'm here to listen, okay? I told you earlier when we were chatting that I came in with a completely open mind.
Thank you.
And most of this group here has a completely open mind at this point. I mean, we're not just looking for another fight. When we hung up our spurs the last time, we thought that would be permanent, and maybe it will be. You know, we're not here making threats or in any way wanting to do that. So I take personal exception to the mayor's comments directed at LEVA. I'd like to get that on the record, that I didn't hear a single word out of her mouth that was a threat or anything the whole time, and yeah, we got a diatribe from the mayor on that point. That's all I want to say on it.
No, I just didn't mean that to come off that way. I just thought that, you know, that was the same thing, asking everybody to keep an open mind. And that's all I'm asking for also, so I don't know how
Okay, I don't really
trying
want
to
to get into
threaten.
a debate, Mayor, with you here. I don't know you, you don't know me.
Sure.
I'd like to keep it that way. I would have thought you were here. Because I'm here about power, not about your personal opinions on anything. All right, back to where we were.